Police investigated a home on East Dogwood Court after noticing fireworks erupting. It was only 4 p.m., so the firework display at this time was odd. Upon further investigation, they saw a woman shooting a Roman candle through a garage window. When police approached, they stumbled across a situation more severe than they could imagine. The woman still locked in the garage told police her and her children were being held captive by 39-year-old Brandy McCaslin, who was inside the home with her own children, 9-month-old Billy Jacobson, 6-year-old Bryce, and 11-year-old Nolani McGee. The woman told police she came over with one of Brandy's children for a supervised visit. Brandy took the child and then pointed the gun at the woman, locking her inside the garage. After freeing the unidentified woman and her children, police attempted to enter the home, but the door was blocked. The situation led to a 3-hour standoff between Brandy and police. Police eventually gained entry into the home and found all 3 children deceased from a gunshot wound. Brandy was also dead from a self-inflicted wound. Baby Billy's father, Billy Sr., is speaking out and asking for law changes. He says in January of this year, Brandy attempted and he was given emergency custody of his son. However, despite Brandy's extensive history of mental issues, the courts returned their son to her. He feels fathers have minimal rights in this country and hope this changes.
Hi, this is Billy Jacobson. I'm going to be on the podcast this week due to an incident that happened on Thursday. My son, William Mitchell Jacobson, little Billy, and his brother and his sister were killed in a triple homicide by their mother. Father's rights are a dear subject to me. I've dealt with it for years now. I'm 5 years sober, and I got both of my daughters, and I had my son too. Their mother had an incident in January where she had attempted suicide, and I took her to court. I got emergency custody, and the system failed me. It basically helped her even though she didn't have an attorney and had multiple issues with mental health and suicide, and put my kids right back in the care of somebody they knew would injure my kids. And if it wasn't for that, my son would be here in my arms right now. So I appreciate your time, and I look forward to being able to get my story out to you. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Per Daily Mail, Billy went on to say, "Myself and Nolani's dad were fighting for what was safe for the children. Brandy had a lot of mental issues and threatened to run off with Billy and never let me see him again. The courts have failed us dramatically. I had emergency custody of Billy, and Nolani's dad did the same. But within a month, they gave her supervised visitation back, when she hadn't done anything. I knew she had problems, and I was so scared something could happen like this. She planned this ahead of time. She asked me a week and a half ago if she could have an extra hour with Billy that day. She was a very controlling person, and that combined with losing her grandparents is what caused this. Her not having control where her kids went, it would have been a factor. She was trying to push for them to move back in with her. I do wonder where Bryce's father was and if he lived with Brandy. I hope at least in life he had other family members advocating for him." As stated prior, Brandy suffered a long history of mental illnesses, drug abuse, and ideation, possibly caused by grief due to many losses. As a child, her mother committed suicide, after which she was raised by her grandparents. Her grandfather would pass away in January 2023, which led to Brandy's suicide attempt at the time, and she would lose her grandmother in February. Her other losses included the death of her sister from cancer and an uncle from a drug overdose. After her suicide attempt in January, she was court-ordered to complete counseling. She was released from DHS supervision and continued to care for Bryce. I'm assuming Billy Jr. and Nolani were in the care of their fathers. A friend of hers would also return her weapons to her. The perception people have of you may vary, and that is evident in the Facebook posts I found pertaining to Brandy. While friends mourned her loss and validated her struggles, others claimed it was all a facade and that Brandy was a very manipulative person. One friend wrote, "I'm just utterly crushed by this news. My heart breaks for all those that this devastating loss will forever change. Brandy and I were inseparable most of our lives. Even despite thousands of miles and opposite personalities, she was family. The last 2 years we hadn't talked much, which part of me will regret. Brandy's life was full of trauma, loss, addiction, and hardships. My heart aches to think that the tragedy could have been prevented if she had better access to mental health services. Part of me is still processing, and most of me is numb. I just pray that she, along with her 3 sweet babies, are together and reunited with all the family and friends that have lost throughout the years. May God give us strength to remember the healthy version of her, the joy she brought us, the way she laughed, the kindness she had for others, how she relentlessly would defend what she believed in, and not let this tragedy overshadow those memories. Another friend would write, there's going to be a lot of people that judge and say bad things about you, Brandy McCausland, but I want to remind everyone, you have no idea what you would do in her situation with all the loss she has endured. Somehow, someway, she thought she was saving them. We all know that's not true. After her mother took her own life, losing both her uncles, then her sister to cancer, after taking care of both her grandparents till they passed, and add in having a baby and all the hormones that come with it, it was hard on Brandy seeing her grandparents that way, but she was not going to put them in a home. After they passed, she found out she was losing the house she grew up in. We didn't know her mental state and where she was. After all of that, you can say what you think you would do, but you really don't know until you are in that situation. I hope you are somewhere better with your family. I know you did feel alone, and I'm sorry for that. I hope your soul gets some peace now. May you and your family rest easy. Give them hugs for me. And for anyone reading this, remember not to judge so harshly. You really don't know what you would do until you walk in someone else's shoes. While those memories of Brandy were very heartfelt, there was a complete contrast to that in another post. And she says, and I want to say this. I have a lot of mutual friends with this monster who has really hurt my family a lot over the last 10 years because we went to high school together, and at one point in life we were really close friends. If you feel compelled to post all the sob stories and glorified fake smiling pictures of this child murderer and say how amazing she was, then maybe you shouldn't be on my Facebook page. I would rather see the pictures and stories of the beautiful babies that died innocently by their own mother's hands. She doesn't deserve the attention that she always had to seek in any setting. I'm waiting on a note to be found because there's no way Brandy didn't get the last word or have a story to make her look justified or as a victim. She was always good at playing the victim. My brother's wife, they were separated, was locked inside the garage inside her car with her 2 sons. One of those sons were my other nephew. Brandy took her phone and keys and locked her and the other 2 babies in that garage. My other nephew and his brother were slowly dying from the heat in that garage. She tried like hell to get into the house but couldn't. When she found the fireworks, she was trying to set the house on fire to get someone's attention and save her boys. This is what a mother does. She fights like hell to save her babies. There is no doubt in my mind that Brandy would have killed them as well. I am so thankful that they are safe. She and those boys can use all the prayers they can get right now. She ended it with this quote, as a child, I never imagined that all of the real monsters in the world would be humans. I, for one, will not victimize Brandy. I don't feel that what she did was right. I'll let you guys decide whether her mental illness and all of that trauma played a role in what she did. But for me, I just never understood how people kill kids, and I hope I never understand that. I believe that she wanted control and she wanted to hurt the fathers of her children. The decisions that she made in her life caused her children to be removed. And because of that, I'm pretty sure that did make her distraught. I'm sure she felt bad. I'm sure she was disgusted with herself. But at the end of the day, she could have did better to get her children back. And I know it's easier said than done because I'm not in that situation. I guess it would be better for me to say that I wish that she had done better to get her children so that they all could live together and be happy. But instead, whatever she was going through was just too much. And instead of allowing her children to have a long life, she wanted to take them with her. I guess she felt that it would be better if they were all together in death instead of apart in life. Billy Sr. gave a brief description of each child, starting with his son Billy Jr., calling him the sweetest, happiest baby who woke up every morning with a huge smile, wanting to play. He ended his statement by saying Billy Jr. was loved by his sisters, Billy Sr.'s other daughters. Bryce was the sweetest, happiest little boy. He always had a smile and had a heart of gold. He soaked up attention from anyone. Nolani was goofy, funny, sweet, cute little girl. She was so timid, but she had just started vaulting horses. She also recently graduated elementary school. She was strong and fearless. I genuinely believe an officer or someone with specialized training should conduct supervised visits in a secure location where the parents are checked for weapons. I've heard too many stories about people harming their children during these visits. May Nolani, Bryce, and baby Billy all rest in peace.